Everything to know about the Black Ops 6 campaign. Now that quite some time has passed since the Call of Duty Direct event, I thought I would provide a ton of information regarding Black Ops 6's story, compiling literally everything we know so far regarding the characters, the locations, and missions in this game. The event itself revealed a lot of details, but of course it's very overwhelming, and so a lot of you may be in need of that information condensing, as well as following the event itself, there's been even further information revealed. We have information on new locations, familiar mission settings, as well as details on the mysterious organization that seems to be controlling everything in the shadows of this game. So let's take a closer look at Black Ops 6's campaign. Before jumping in, I want to clarify that Treyarch have mentioned that there is no September 11th mission in this game. In fact, they have said that they won't even be referencing it or mentioning it at all. Previously, people found teasers that seemed to point towards this being involved in the campaign, because prior rumors were saying that the campaign would span the entirety of the 90s as well as the early 2000s, but Treyarch came out and said that in fact the campaign is just going to be focusing on 1991. It seems there will be some VHS tapes and different scenes in 1990 and potentially other events, but pretty much everything's going to be happening just in a 1-year time span, which I guess means that Treyarch have room to explore the later 90s and the early 2000s in a potential future Black Ops game. But Treyarch have said they have never pondered on or ever intend to cover anything regarding September 11th, as they would never introduce anything just for shock value, which I think is in contrast to some of the things that have happened in past games. But nevertheless, I don't want to talk too much further about this topic because most of my videos have gotten demonetized when I've talked about it. I may do a whole separate video just tackling this specific subject because I think it is an interesting discussion. And Treyarch have said that any references to that date were pure coincidence and were completely unintentional. And of course, even if it was going to be briefly mentioned in the campaign, like we thought from these teasers, that never necessarily meant it was going to be a physical playable mission. That was always very unlikely. People were just spreading misinformation on Twitter saying that there's going to be a playable mission when that was never stated at all, and is a massive leap from this inference. But regarding Black Ops 6's campaign itself, now that we know it's going to be set in 1991, but multiplayer is going to be set after the campaign, and so we'll be using a lot of familiar locations showing the aftermath. So we'll be playing on a lot of similar maps based on the campaign levels, like we would expect, like happens in most Call of Duties, meaning that most likely the multiplayer is taking place in 1992 and beyond, potentially. The Safehouse is returning in Black Ops 6's campaign, which is going to be the intermediary hub between levels, and I will elaborate further later on in this video regarding the Safehouse, but there's going to be an evidence board present, which will update as you complete missions and as you gain more information regarding the mole in the CIA. And it does seem to reveal a lot of locations that we might be exploring in the campaign. Now, Treyarch have said that the campaign length is going to be similar to that of a regular Call of Duty, so we're looking at maybe around 8 hours if you take it a bit slow and you're not trying to do it just as quick as possible and you're not just playing on the easiest difficulty. But in the reveal, there are 16 locations on the evidence board. However, these are all within Europe, and we know the campaign will be exploring the United States a lot. We will be going to Russia and in Iraq's vicinities, which I'll elaborate more on in the future. So it's unclear if these are all going to be 16 missions in the campaign, because I think that's unlikely, because that would mean we would probably be getting like 25 missions, which seems very unlikely considering they've said it's going to be a regular campaign length, unless we hop about quite sporadically. And all of these locations are within Europe, that being the Irish coast, England, the British Channel, the Bay of Biscay, Pyrenees, Belgium or France, the Netherlands, Corsica, Mediterranean, Germany, Poland, Romania, and Ukraine. Like I said, it's unlikely we explore all these missions in the campaign, but maybe this is where we're going to get evidence from and informed to us. It is interesting that these are all in Europe though, and specifically honed in there, so I don't really think this is an indication of the campaign missions like some people have been speculating. And before we dive into more of Black Ops 6's campaign information, I first have something amazing to let you be aware of, and we will be right back, so stay tuned. I've been looking to get involved in video game tournaments for a while now and have done a lot of research into it for how someone like me, an average player, someone who's not insane at games, can too for fun and to earn some serious money. In my research, I found something that really has caught my eye: the Ultimate Endgamers League, or UEL for short. But who exactly are they? The UEL has been around for about 5 years now, and they've really made a name for themselves in the esports world. They've completed 8 seasons, each one drawing over 1 million viewers, and they have handed out over $300,000 in prizes so far. Season 8 has a whopping 100,000 prize pool, and get this, Season 9's prize pool is a whopping 1 million. Yes, that is right. That's one of the biggest in US esports history. They even hold their finals in huge venues like the Capital One Arena in DC. This is exactly what I've been looking for. Now let's talk about what they stand for. UEL's mission is to create the largest worldwide gaming community that's inclusive of all ages, backgrounds, and skill levels. I'll be honest, I play video games relatively casually nowadays, and I've never been exactly the best player. This is something available for everyone. You can get involved, your friends can get involved, I can get involved. They offer secure esports experiences and are all about diversity. They don't just focus on one game. Think of them as the UFC of gaming. They are here for the 99% of gamers who aren't in the top 1%. They push for excellence in both console and PC gaming, emphasizing community and competitive play across various genres. Such video games include Call of Duty, of course what you and I are the most interested in, Apex Legends, Fortnite, Halo, Street Fighter, Forza, Madden, Valorant, League of Legends, and many, many more. But how do they operate? UEL hosts events every Thursday through Sunday. They feature 33 different games, catering to everyone from casual gamers to hardcore competitors. But it's not just about gaming. They focus on esports education, year-round programming, live streaming, AV production, and professional development, including coaching and mentoring. Plus, they have partnered up with ViewEIM to provide free health and wellness services for pro players, stuff like massages, acupuncture, which is definitely needed for people who sit on computers for long periods of time. How generous is that? They are about fostering a community, not just seeing everyone as a dollar sign. And here's the best part, UEL is looking for players right now. Whether you are into fighting games, strategy, sports, shooters, or racing games, they've got a spot for you. They bring about innovation and adapt to the ever-changing gaming landscape. So if you've got the skills and the passion, you could be exactly who they are looking for. So if you're ready to join an amazing community and compete for some serious cash, you can check out the Ultimate Endgamers League via the link in the description. It's entirely free to enter, so there's no reason not to. You might as well give it a shot and maybe you will be chosen. Anyone can try out and the cash prizes are insane. Guaranteed pay up to $2,500 per match and up to $100,000 per year, with, like I said, free wellness benefits too. So what are you waiting for? Get in on the action and see if you have what it takes to be the next big thing in esports. I will be playing, so I'll hopefully see you in game. I contacted the UEL after discovering them through my own research, and they wanted me to share it with my community as well so we can all get involved. So a huge thank you to them for kindly sponsoring this video. Now, it is rumored that some of the campaign's going to be partially semi-open world. There's still going to be linear missions too, but these open world missions are apparently not going to be like Modern Warfare 3's glorified Spec Ops missions. They're apparently going to be more akin to Far Cry. Trek have also confirmed that all of Black Ops 2's 80s and 90s events are canon, meaning that yes, Alex Mason is dead in the game as well as Jason Hudson. They have said that going with the Mason dying choice is the best option for the future storytelling that they plan, as of course if they retcon this, it would undermine Black Ops 2. Of course, in one of the alternate endings in Black Ops 2, Mason is still alive, but that isn't the canon choice, and narratively wise, it does make sense to go with this. There are going to be no multiple choices in Black Ops 6's campaign, however, so this means that yes, when Woods was tricked into thinking that he shoots Menendez to find he actually shot Mason to death, which leads to Mason shooting him in the kneecaps, mobilizing him, which is why he ends up in a wheelchair. This is still canon, and I'm glad because this is a huge storyline beat and is integral for the future games and Black Ops 2's narrative as a whole, with the storyline that they want to go canonically. But let's dive into Black Ops 6's campaign. First off, it's going to be set against the backdrop of the early 90s. Like I said, the Soviet Union was collapsing, the first Gulf War was in full swing, which seems to be a big premise of the campaign, but not the entire thing. A lot of people were saying before launch, well, the Gulf War only spanned a very short period of time, spanning literally less than a year from the 2nd of August 1990 to the 28th of February 1991, and people were confused, how could they get a full game out of this when it was rumored the game would be called Black Ops Gulf War? And that's because the main focus of the campaign is more going to be about the CIA, as opposed to the war specifically. That's just going to be a backdrop of the campaign. So it does seem like the campaign's going to be less dark than we were initially expecting, and was said from all of the marketing. Trek have said that all of the marketing regarding the Truth Lies in the United States and elsewhere around the world in present day 2024, that's not actually the main focus of the campaign. That was was just for marketing purposes. The American people largely distrusted the government during this period. Black Ops 6 is a spy thriller where a mysterious shadowy organization named Pantheon has taken control of the CIA and other high-level agencies across the United States. They remain in the shadows, not revealing themselves, with some type of plan to detonate a weapon of mass destruction in DC. Now, I want to say before I elaborate further on Pantheon that honestly this description sounds kind of generic, and before we knew of Pantheon and we were learning about the campaign apparently being critical of the United States and the CIA specifically, I was hoping they would just have the CIA themselves being the bad of this campaign itself. However, it seems like they're going for a more surface level route where once again, like many previous Call of Duty campaigns, there's some sort of secret shadowy organization that has infiltrated them instead of it being the CIA themselves. And we know of course that Call of Duty receives funding from the CIA for specific weapons and data, and many ex-military personnel give advice on the game. So I assume the reason they've gone for a shadowy organization instead of the CIA themselves is due to a conflict of interest. And in order for them to get permission to use certain weapons or certain manufacturers, they have to go this route. And it is unfortunate because it means that once again the story is going to be less nuanced, but we know very little about the campaign just yet. We're going to have to wait and see. I think they did a good job with Black Ops Cold War, but it does mean that they're not really going to be focusing on the real world events during this era really at all. Like I said, it's just going to be the backdrop of the campaign as opposed to them really making any kind of real world statements, which I think is fine, but I feel like it's playing it extremely safe, and I would have liked them to speak a bit more on the real world than them once again just having some sort of weird shadowy organization that's a bit unclear what's going on because they don't want to be critical of America themselves. Now, I do want to say, I wonder how this ties into zombie stuff, because if the campaign's going to be all about the CIA being infiltrated even to the highest levels, we know that Eddie Richtofen ended up planting himself as the director of Requiem, and he is very high up in government, and he orders a lot of high up people in government to help aid him in Project Janus, which is unclear what that's specifically for. So it does have me wondering what if the Pantheon somehow ties into what Richtofen is up to in zombies. Now, I doubt they're really going to tie into each other, but it would be cool, and considering both stories are about the CIA being infiltrated at the highest levels and Richtofen has an uber rich and powerful people aiding Project Janus, these themes seem to tie with one another. And even in the campaign trailer, there is a sneak glimmer which seems to look like something similar to the cyclotron from D Machine, and we know that Richtofen for Project Janus requires a large dark ether gateway, and we can see a blueprint of it even in the Black Ops 6 marketing, which references Janus on it, and it seems to be taking place in Liberty Falls, the West Virginia map, one of the launch maps for that game. So I'm wondering if maybe this could tie in with what's going on in the campaign as well, or maybe this device is used for some sort of brainwashing or something like that, but it just looks eerily similar to the cyclotron for this to just be a coincidence. If it isn't Richtofen's gateway that's similarly being used in the campaign, I wonder if it is using some kind of dark ether technology that could tie in with what Richtofen is doing. With that out of the way, let's dive into the characters in Black Ops 6. Like I said, our main enemy is the Pantheon. They control many strings in the CIA and send a specific group after you, the Crimson One team. They are not necessarily bad or good people, they are just following orders. But many have excused that before in past wars, like the Germans in World War II, or pretty much any potential bad entity. So that's a really poor philosophy to excuse your actions, but nevertheless, let's look at the allies in the game. First, the man running the strings, coordinating the attacks and informing you from the headquarters, the Safehouse, is Sergeant Frank Woods. Now, we actually have a blueprint of the Safehouse, which kind of gives you a layout. You'll be able to explore it, find Easter eggs in the campaign, and I'm excited for that. So like I said, Black Ops 2 is canon, so he is wheelchair bound after Raul Menendez kneecapped him in Panama 2 years earlier. Woods has been struggling to find his new role as he has been taken out of the field. Luckily, he has a protege, a man by the name of Troy Marshall, a CIA operator trained by Woods himself to take Woods' place in the field. Now, he is actually the character that we see on the cover art of Black Ops 6, and his actor was in one of the Purge movies. So I'm really excited to see this character in action, and finally the character on the cover art of a Black Ops game, apart from Black Ops Cold War because they had a different cover art style, is actually relevant to the campaign itself. While Woods controls the mission planning and logistics from the headquarters, Marshall runs the field operations, reacting with calm, calculating precision to the ever-changing conflicts before him, making the right calls at the right moments. And this explains the missing gap we had in Woods' history between the flashback events we saw in Black Ops 2 and then the futuristic 2025 Black Ops 2 missions. This is what Woods was was up to. He was commanding these events behind the scenes, but clearly the CIA covered it up due to them being infiltrated, and that's why we never really knew about it. Troy Marshall is the second in command to the squad. He reports directly to Woods, who calls the shots. The third in command is the character you actually play as, a CIA operative named Chase. We know pretty much nothing about Chase, unfortunately, though, apart from he's apparently a white male ranging from 25 to 35 military age and works very closely with Troy Marshall. While Marshall makes decisions for everyone, he relies heavily on Case's input as they work very closely together. So yeah, I think the premise for this campaign's interesting because the CIA have turned against them and now they're having to operate in the shadows because who they thought they trusted cannot be trusted. The truth lies, just like the marketing. But like I said, I wish it was the CIA themselves as opposed to them being infiltrated because it takes the blame away from them. This is totally something that has happened in the real world, so why does there need to be a shadowy organization to excuse this? We also have two more people on the team. There's a Russian hacker who, after the fall of the Soviet Union, joined the CIA to help out and now works closely with Troy Marshall, Case and Frank Woods. Then there's an assassin of unknown origin, a blacklisted character with not much information known about her, but she works very closely with Troy Marshall and Case throughout the campaign. We do know that Park is going to be involved in the campaign as well, but it does seem that she's only going to be sprinkled here and there, I think in one of the Iraq missions, as opposed to a more integral character like we saw her in Black Ops Cold War. But I like that they are incorporating those characters we saw in that game too, even if they're not taken as integral of a role. While these two characters are not central to the plot, the character who is the most important is of course Russell Adler. Adler drives the narrative throughout Black Ops 6's campaign. However, it does seem like he's not going to be right at the forefront because he's kind of going to act as a villain in the campaign where we don't know if he's on our side or not. And that's because at the beginning of the campaign, Adler is running operations for the CIA during the First Gulf War. These operations are separate from those of Frank Woods, Troy Marshall and Case. However, Adler gets disavowed and burned by the CIA due to his discovery of Pantheon. Pantheon manipulates everyone and events to make Adler look like a war criminal, framing him as if he were working with terrorist organizations and killing American troops and a mole. They even create a wanted poster for him claiming he is wanted alive. Now, the thing is though, is that Adler is a war criminal. Almost everyone in this campaign is a war criminal. I mean, just look at the end of Black Ops Cold War. He turned on Bell and shot at him. Regardless, however, he wants to excuse it, whether it's for the greater good or not. These people are all war criminals, and we know, of course, in the post-launch of Black Ops Cold War, he was brainwashed by Perseus. Now, apparently Mason managed to undo his brainwashing, but this gives Pantheon a lot of room to work with in trying to frame him as a mole, because they can say, wait, he was brainwashed by Perseus. Wait, look what happened with Bell, and they can very easily frame him as doing other events that he's not actually responsible for, and stuff going wrong at the start of the campaign, and shifting all of the blame on him. But as to why they want to frame him, I'm not exactly sure, and that will be unveiled later in the campaign. But like I said, I think in the campaign, we don't know whether we can trust people in the CIA. We don't know whether we can trust people that we end up finding are in Pantheon. We don't know whether we can trust Adler or not, because it's all about the truth lies. We don't know who's on our side. So I'm excited to see how that plays out, and whether we'll discover whether Adler is a mole or not, because, I mean, theoretically speaking, Pantheon could frame him and he could still end up having done bad. So we'll have to see how it plays out. Now, of course, we learned that Menendez has moles in the CIA when Woods accidentally killed Mason.
He even has people in the CIA. Mason! Menendez!
So maybe young Menendez could be involved in the campaign too, showing the rise of Cordisdia, and then this could lead into the rumoured Call of Duty 2025 game we'll be seeing next year, Black Ops 7 or whatever it's called, which is rumoured to be a Black Ops 2 sequel in 2030, showing the aftermath of the fall of Cordisdia, as Treyarch have confirmed Black Ops 3 and 4 are still canon, which can only happen as a result. So it's unclear as to which Black Ops 2 ending is canon now though, but I'm excited to see how Adler is involved in the campaign, and we're probably not going to trust him a lot, but maybe later in the campaign we start trusting him, and then we team up and go after Pantheon together. So let's talk about the missions you will play in the first Gulf War as Case. The first mission that we know about is an open world level in the Middle East. Case and Marshall are hunting down high value targets alongside an SAS deployment team, which may or may not include Captain Price and Captain Macmillan. The mission involves hunting down 3 main objectives, with options for some side objectives. The first objective is to destroy a Scud missile launcher. These missiles launched by the Iraqis were highly destructive if they hit a target. The launcher is being rolled in and out of a cave to protect it from being destroyed. Your job is to work with the SAS to destroy the launcher. The second objective involves going to a satellite dish that's half buried in the sand. We don't have much context yet on this, but it's a mission we will see. The third objective sees you and the SAS team attacking one of Saddam's palaces. Yes, that's right, we're literally going to go to Saddam Hussein's palace in Babylon, Iraq in the campaign, and this palace will apparently be a multiplayer map as well. Pretty much all of the missions are going to be multiplayer experiences too, that we'll see in the aftermath of this. I can't believe we're actually going there, but in the palace you will learn about Pantheon, and after bringing this information back to the CIA command, you get disavowed and your entire team gets burned. The next mission is a casino heist in a European casino. The casino houses a vault with sensitive information about the Gulf War, Saddam Hussein and Pantheon. Your mission is to help Marshall steal a keycard to access the vault. During the mission you get interrogated by an unknown person who tries to beat the truth out of you. Now, like I said, Pantheon are the main villain, but lots of the marketing for the game made it out like Saddam Hussein would be the actual antagonist in the campaign, but like I said, it seems like he's just going to be a backdrop character with the main focus of being on Pantheon. So we thought from all of the marketing it was going to be more tackling real world stuff, but it just seems like, as he said, this is just the backdrop for that, so it was kind of misleading marketing, which in my opinion, I think it would be more interesting if they tackled real world stuff, as long as if they portray it in a fair manner, which I guess is such a touchy subject because people have so many opinions, so that's probably why they're trying to avoid actual real world stuff and just create more of a fictional story, because they are trying to avoid controversy, which take it one way or another. Now, after this mission, you head to a former KGB safe house that Woods has converted into a safe haven for your team. Here you find new story hints and content clues about Black Ops 1. So like I said, this is also where we are going to be in between missions, following on from this mission specifically. The most important thing you learn at the safe house is that Alex Mason is dead, confirmed by Woods. Now, like I said, they've not actually confirmed Bell died when Adler shot him. We know Adler survives, so it would seem unlikely that both do, but I guess Bell could theoretically make an appearance at some point in this game, but it's a bit unlikely. Maybe we meet him and he's like, whoa, Adler shot at me, and that could lead to you questioning whether Adler is actually responsible for what Pantheon may have framed him for. Now, whilst Mason is canonically dead, this doesn't mean that he won't show up in the campaign in any way. For example, we could see Alex Mason in a flashback mission, because in the teasers leading up to the reveal event, there was even a mark made on a map pointing towards Alaska, and of course, before Mason's death, he resided in Alaska raising his son, David Mason, who was of course in Black Ops 2. So it's possible we could see maybe a flashback mission raising his son, or we could even see his son involved in any way in the campaign. Of course, he's just a child, so he's not going to be involved in any of the war, but you know, we could see a mission, for example, with Woods talking to him as a child, or something along those lines. Next, you learn that Russell Adler is alive and being held in an underground CIA black site in downtown DC. Woods and Marshall decide to break Adler out during a fundraiser for Governor Clinton's presidential campaign. Disguised as police, Marshall and Case break into the facility, but someone else has already killed everyone inside. After a firefight, they find Adler, who has taken one of the attackers hostage. The team escapes on motorcycles and is picked up by a helicopter, leading to chase through DC and a firefight between helicopters. So like I said, back to the premise of they're not really tackling real world commentary. From the teaser where it seemed like Saddam Hussein will be the antagonist of the campaign, they had this kind of villainous montage where they showed Margaret Thatcher, Bill Clinton, etc., as if they were conspiring against the civilians themselves and lying to them. So I thought it would be interesting if the campaign would actually be critical of these individuals. It seems like beyond maybe some mere dialogue, they're not going to be, as it's going to be more so focusing on this fictional entity Pantheon, which is way less interesting in my opinion. The final confirmed mission takes place at the Vorkuta prison complex in Siberia. So yes, that's right, we're going back to Vorkuta. I wonder if there's going to be any Reznov Easter egg or something like that. That would be awesome, but I'm so glad we're going back to this prison, and it seems it'll be available in the multiplayer experience too. I do wonder if in zombies as well they could reuse some of these campaign levels as zombies maps like we've seen in the past, and I think Vorkuta zombies would be amazing. But anyways, Adler sends you there to discover something crucial about Pantheon. The prison, now a shell of its former self, has been taken over by Pantheon, who are looking for something related to the brainwashing done to Alex Mason in Black Ops 1. I'm not exactly sure why though. Like I said, maybe this is then touching on that shot we saw, which looks like Richthofen's gateway. That's probably from this mission, I would assume, but what exactly is Pantheon's goal? It's so unclear. They've revealed that Pantheon is building a weapon of mass destruction with a biological component aimed to be used in DC and around the world simultaneously to take control of the United States government. So once again, it just seems way too generic compared to last missions. It seems to be there's always this shadowy organization, they have a weapon of mass destruction, they have nukes, they have Nova 6 or whatever the case may be, and it just seems too surface level for me, honestly, and we're going to have to wait plenty until we actually play the campaign for itself, but honestly, the way it was being marketed before made me more excited than is what's seemingly being revealed now and has been revealed at the event. But yeah, like I said, maybe this weapon of mass destruction could tie into zombie stuff in some way, if it's tying in to do with something to do with Richtofen and it's maybe powered by Ethereum. I don't know, that's wild speculation, probably not true. Now surely there's going to be a Reznov Easter egg of some kind in this mission, and in fact we actually know Reznov survived after Black Ops' campaign, as we learn about him going by the alias John Trent in the Black Ops terminal. I've posted a video on this a while ago before. It would be an interesting plot twist if he is behind Pantheon all this time. Of course he would be very old by this point, but I guess it's possible. We have no idea what he was doing though whilst he was still alive in the background story, posing as John Trent, but this is a loose end that Trent could always tie up in the future. But honestly, it's probably better left as an Easter egg. Not everything needs to be expanded upon. Sometimes the mystery of these things is more fun. But that's not all. Let's dive deeper into the characters' backgrounds and the roles in the unfolding drama of Black Ops 6. Frank Woods, a hardened veteran with a legacy that spans decades, is grappling with his new reality. Being confined to a wheelchair after the brutal attack in Panama has not dimmed his strategic brilliance. His mind is as sharp as ever, directing missions with the same intensity and precision that once defined his field operations. Woods' role as the mastermind behind the scenes adds a layer of depth to the narrative, showcasing his struggle with PTSD and determination to continue the fight from behind enemy lines. So we're going to be getting a more nuanced look at Woods now, focusing more on his emotional side, which I'm really excited to see play out, as he's going to have his shield that he puts onto the world and in missions brought down. Troy Marshall, on the other hand, embodies the spirit of a new generation of operators. Trained by Woods, he carries the weight of expectations while forcing his own path. Marshall's tactical acumen and calm demeanor under pressure make him an indispensable asset in the field. His relationship with Case is pivotal, forming the backbone of the team's operational success. The dynamic between Marshall and Case highlights the importance of mentorship and the passing of the torch from one generation to the next. Case, the character players will control, is a blend of mystery and skill. His background is shrouded in secrecy, but his actions speak volumes. His close collaboration with Marshall hints at a deeper level of trust and camaraderie. As players step into Case's shoes, they will uncover layers of his personality and backstory, making the journey throughout Black Ops 6 a deeply personal experience. Now let's explore the intricacies of the missions further. The open world mission in the Middle East is not just a hunt for high value targets, it's a test of strategy and adaptability. The alliance with the SAS deployment team adds an international dimension to the conflict, emphasizing the global stakes of the war. The Scud missile launcher mission, with its cat and mouse dynamic, challenges players to think on their feet and adapt to the ever-changing battlefield. The Satellite Dish mission, although shrouded in mystery, promises to be a pivotal point in the narrative. Buried in the sands of the Middle East, this Satellite Dish holds secrets that could alter the course of the conflict. What lies beneath the surface? What information does it contain that makes it so crucial to both the CIA and Pantheon? The attack on Saddam's palace is a high-octane mission that blends historical context with the thrill of discovery. As players infiltrate the palace, they will encounter fierce resistance and unravel the first threads of Pantheon's sinister plans. The mission sets the stage for the larger conflicts, revealing the depth of Pantheon's infiltration into global affairs. The casino heist in Europe takes players into the heart of luxury and deception. The vault, hidden beneath layers of security, contains information that could turn the tide of the war. This mission is not just about brute force, it's about finesse and strategy. The interrogation scene adds a psychological layer, testing players' resolve and ability to withstand pressure. Returning to the KGB Safehouse brings a sense of nostalgia and continuity to the series. Woods' transformation of this Cold War relic into a modern-day sanctuary speaks to his resourcefulness and determination. The Safehouse serves as a hub for players to regroup, strategize, and uncover hidden story elements and Easter eggs. The confirmation of Alex Mason's death is a poignant moment, tying up loose ends from the previous games and adding emotional weight to the narrative. The rescue mission in downtown DC is a masterclass in tension and action. Breaking Adler out of the black site during the high-profile fundraiser showcases the audacity and ingenuity of Woods' team. The ensuing chase through the streets of DC, culminating in a helicopter battle, is a cinematic experience that pushes players to their limits. The final mission we know of in the Vorkuta prison complex is a haunting journey into the heart of darkness. The prison, once a site of unimaginable horrors, now stands a testament to the Pantheon's reach and power. As players navigate the desolate landscape, they will uncover the final pieces of the puzzle, leading to a showdown that will determine the fate of the world. In conclusion, from all of the information from the Black Ops 6 Direct event, has set the stage for an epic tale of espionage, betrayal, and heroism. With a rich cast of characters, a gripping narrative, and a sense of intense missions, Black Ops 6 promises to be a landmark entry in the series. Stay tuned for more updates and dive into the world of Black Ops 6, where every decision could be your last. But with that being said, that's everything we know about Black Ops 6's campaign. Did I miss anything? think? Let me know in the comment sections down below, and let me know all of your thoughts and opinions below. Do you agree with me that it would be more interesting if the campaign was less fictional and more so non-fiction? With that being said, thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe if you're not here for latest and greatest Call of Duty news and information. So anyways, thank you for watching, and bye.